Hey, welcome to another episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Continuing the BJCP style guidelines, we're still in the sour beer category, specifically style 23C Oud Brewing. Actually, I think it's pronounced Oud Brewing, not really sure. Overall impression, a malty, fruity, aged, somewhat sour Belgian style brown ale. And for that, I've got Monk's Cafe Flemish sour ale. So let's check the comments history, all that stuff. So comments. Long aging blending of young and old, or, well, young and aged beer may occur, adding smoothness and complexity and balancing any harsh sour character. This style was designed to lay down, so examples with a moderate age character are considered superior to younger examples, the opposite of most styles. Skip down to the last paragraph in history. This is really interesting. They say, while Flanders red beers are aged in oak, the brown beers are warm aged in stainless steel. In characters ingredients, a base of Pils malt with judicious amounts of dark caramel malts and a tiny bit of black or roast malt. Often includes maize. That's interesting again. Corn adjunct. Low alpha acid continental hops are typical. Saccharomyces, lactobacillus. They don't mention Brett in here though. It's interesting they mentioned water in here. It's the only style I've ever seen where they mention, well, other than like some of the German ones. Water high in carbonates is typical of its home region and will buffer the acidity of darker malts and the lactic sourness. Magnesium in the water accentuates the sourness. If you'd like to learn more, highly recommend How to Brew by John Palmer explains all that. Style comparison, a deeper malt character distinguishes these beers from Flanders red ales. The Oud Brewing is less acidic and maltier than the Flanders red, and the fruity flavors are more malt-oriented. I've used 20 to 25, so that's actually, fairly bitter, especially compared to the Flanders red. SRM 15 to 22. I'm surprised they don't mention the color on here because it should be more of a brown than a red. All right, so actually, I mean, you can tell it's more brown than red just by looking at it, but we'll get to that in a sec. Let's dive into the aroma. Wow. All right, so a little bit of like a red wine character, but a lot of that fruitiness. Some, a little bit of sourness on here, but it's not nearly as strong as it was on the Flanders red. So it's kind of like a sour kind of fruit punch thing, or like a sangria kind of thing. Has that tiny little bit of, I mean, it's not vinegar, it's just like that wine character. I don't know how to describe it. Tannic, I guess. Yeah, it smells really good to me. It does smell more malty than, I mean, there's fruitiness in there, but the sourness and like the bacteria kind of content is much lower on this than it is, or it was on the Flanders red. I'm not getting any hops, but I am getting like a little bit of that dark malt. Not like super rich and bready, but definitely enough to notice that it's like, hey, that's, pretty malty for a sour beer. So let's check the specs on aroma. Complex combination of fruity esters and rich malt character, just what I just said. Medium high esters, commonly reminiscent of raisins, plum, figs, date, black cherries, or prunes. Yeah, I agree. Black cherries, I'd probably say, prunes. Yeah, something like that whole general character category. Medium low to medium high malt character of caramel, toffee, orange, tree-colored chocolate. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a toffee caramel kind of thing in there. I don't think I'd say chocolate. Spicy phenols can be present in low amounts for complexity. If they're there, they're very subtle. A sherry-like character may be present and generally denotes an aged example. I'm not sure how old this bottle is, but to me it doesn't seem like super old. A low sour aroma may be present and can modestly increase with age, but should not grow to be noticeable. It's interesting they say a low sour aroma may be present. I mean, you think of this as a sour beer. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a low sour aroma. It's pretty easily noticeable. But should not grow to a noticeable acidic vinegary character. Yeah, true. Just a tiny little bit. Hop aroma absent, true. Diacetyl is perceived only in very minor qualities, if at all, as a complementary aroma. Surprised they keep mentioning diacetyl in these styles. Yeah, so it's right there for the style. Smells really good. I think I'm 10 to start. I could see myself bumping that up to 11 if I had to. All right, so I'm not sure this looking on camera. It might look black or brown. Hold up to the sun. Well, it's kind of cloudy out today, but yeah, it's very dark out. I'd say it's about 34 SRM if I hold up to the light. 22, something like that. Actually, if I hold it right up to the desk lamp, it's like red wine. And it did have a nice full, 2-3 finger worth of head there. And it's I try to leave the dregs in the bottle so it's like a little bit cloudy, but otherwise it was quite clear. So let's check the specs on appearance. Dark reddish brown to brown in color. True. Good clarity. True, except for I got a little bit of the yeast in there. Average to good head retention. True. Ivory to light tan head color. True. All right, so banging on all cylinders for appearance. Full 3 out of 3. All right, so flavor. Let's find out. Cheers. Wow. I really love the Flanders Red, but I'm really liking this one too. Wow, it's kind of a toss-up. So like, this is much more sour tasting than it is smelling. You smell it, and you can smell a little bit of like the clean lactic there and everything, and it's nice, but it's not huge. But tasting it, it's a lot stronger. It's not nearly as strong as the Flanders Red or the Berliner Weiss, but it's quite enough to notice. So up front, you get the acidity, you get that sourness. It's probably put about maybe moderate sourness. But you're also getting like this really lovely fruit juice, sangria kind of fruity complexity to it. And then it finishes like with this nice malty sweetness. Really interesting. Yeah, and you know what's really interesting is that you wouldn't think that those flavors would work because you're getting, sourness up front. Gives a little bit of a tart character, getting like black cherry or red currant, some kind of like tart kind of fruit like that. Maybe a tiny little bit of like green apple in there. I don't think I'd say, they mentioned plum, raisin. Not really sure I'd say that. Like those classic Belgian yeast ester fruitiness. You're definitely getting on here. In fact, I'm getting much more yeast esters on here than I was with the Flanders Red because that was just like all the bacteria, but this one is much more yeast. But yeah, everything's really balanced together. I am getting like a little bit of hop bitterness and maybe like a tiny little bit of like earth/floral hop kind of flavor. So it's not like the hops are completely absent. They did say 20 to 25 IBUs, so yeah, it's probably closer to a 20, but yeah, it's pretty nice. All right, so let's check the specs on flavor. Malty with fruity complexity and typically some caramel character, true. Medium to medium high fruitiness commonly includes darker dried fruits such as raisins, plums, figs, date, black cherries, or prunes. Yep, totally agree. Medium low to medium high malt character of caramel, toffee, orange, treacle, or chocolate. They're just copying and pasting what the aroma specs were, yeah. It's true. Spicy phenols can be present in low amounts for complexity. I didn't smell them, but I did taste like a little bit of a spicy kind of character on there. It's pretty nice. It's subtle, but it's there. A slight sourness often becomes more pronounced in well-aged examples, along with some sherry-like character, producing a sweet and sour profile. There's definitely sourness there. I've said that many times. Sherry, like oxidized. I'm not really getting it. I think this is like a remotely fresh bottle. But, sourness is nice. The sourness should not grow to a noticeable acidic vinegary character. Yeah, again, I mentioned like a tiny little bit of like red wine kind of thing going there, but I didn't taste it. Hop flavor absent? Well, yeah, maybe hop flavor's absent, but there definitely is like a little bit of bitterness. Restrained hop bitterness. Okay, there we go. Low oxidation is appropriate as a point of complexity. If it's oxidized, I'm not picking up on it, which is weird because usually I pick up on that immediately. Diacetyl is perceived only in very minor quantities, if at all, as a complementary flavor. No butter. Balance is malty, but with fruitiness and sourness present. Sweet and tart finish. Why do they save those two sentences for the end? So again, this is banging on all cylinders. I think it's a really delectable beer, and it's meeting the specs really well. I'm thinking 18, maybe even 19. I'll say 18. Mouthfeel. It's about a medium body, maybe medium low carbonation. It's very smooth, nice kind of soft texture on it. Finishes like a little bit of a malty aftertaste, but also like a little bit of a tart aftertaste, kind of like yogurt. It's actually quite drinkable. And 5.5 ABV, not a super strong beer. It's actually, really, really drinkable. And like the sour, like this is a great introductory sour because it's sour enough to notice, but like it's not just in your face like a Berliner Weiss. So let's check specs on mouthfeel. Medium to medium full body, true. Low to moderate carbonation, true. No astringency, absolutely true. I think it'd be a little bit longer on the description there, but yeah, it's right there on mouthfeel. I'm going to give it the full 5 out of 5. I think it's a nice drinking beer. I could kind of go 9 or 10 on this. I think I'm going to go the full 10 out of 10. It's no reason not to. All right, so 46 out of 50. So yeah, it's a low 10. In fact, I could bump up. I wouldn't mind bumping up the flavor and the aroma another point or two to bring it up to like a 47, 48. But a 46 out of 50 is just as good. So it's more like an A- than an A, but yeah. So 46 out of 50 for Monk's Cafe Flemish Sour Ale. Again, great introductory sour ale, and like this is actually really easy to find. Any good beer store should have it, like your Total Wine, ABC, something like that. So check it out. All right, so thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it.
Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review.
Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.